All right, last example for 1-1. It can be a lengthy one, so I may not completely finish it just because of how long it takes. Whew. Okay, average rate of change, okay? That's just another word for slope, which I really hope that you have heard slope before, because if not, we're in trouble. And you may remember that slope is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay? We're using that. So that means for slope, we have to have 2 points, right? 2 points. Okay, so here's how they made this Algebra 2 in an Algebra 2 question instead of an Algebra 1 question. They're quizzing you on your vocabulary. So notice this says interval from -2 to 0. That means that these are x values. Okay? So from -2 to 0, those are both x values in a point because it's on an interval. Okay? Now, what we have to do, I just realized my graph really isn't big enough for all of these problems, but that's okay. We have to figure out what are the y values. So there are 2 ways to do this. You can plug in, so what's the absolute value of -2 plus 2? Well, that's 4. Also notice that is where it is on the graph as well. They correspond with each other. If I plug in 0, absolute value of 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. Hey, that's the same spot it is on the graph. Okay, now I have 2 points. So I can now do the slope formula for those 2 points. Okay, so I called these 2 and these 1, but it really doesn't matter. You should get the same answer. So 4 minus 2 and then -2 minus 0 is going to be 2 over -2, which is -1. That is a slope of -1. Well, another way I could have figured that out, it went down 2 over 2. Oh yeah, that is slope. Down 2 over 2 is -2 over 2, which is also -1. So don't be scared of slope. Slope can be easy. Okay? Let's keep looking here. 0 to 3. So the x values are 0 and 3. So at 0, y is 2. We already talked about that. At 3, I cut off the graph. If you're on Desmos, you can go look at the graph. Absolute value of 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5. All right, so 2 minus 5 over 0 minus 3 is -3 over -3. Use those math skills. Negative divided by negative is positive. So +1. Do you some division there? Notice this slope is different than this slope. What if I did the last one? So at -2, the y value is 4. And at 3, the y value is 5. Okay, let me back up for a second. So on this one, if I had had enough graph, I could have seen that I went over 3 and up 3. Right? But I kind of cut off the graph. Let's look here though. This one gets a little tricky because it was going downhill and then it starts going uphill. That's no fun. So what does that mean? Okay. Let's do 4 minus 5 over -2 minus 3 is -1 over -5, which is positive 1/5. What the heck? They're all different. When we did slope in Algebra 1, it was always the same. But remember, you did slope when it was just a line. Notice this is two different lines connected. So all that it means when I get different slopes is that it is non-linear. It just means it's not a line. And hey, I knew that by looking at the graph. All the things. How cool. All right, you are now finished with 1-1. You will do the practice problem following this, and then you will complete your target in Canvas to be finished. Good job.